Welcome, I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. From our BizVision Studios in the UK, you're watching the Leadership Matters show on the BVTV network. Viewers across our channels will see that I've regularly focused on FinTech, or financial tech development, during 2020, and I'll continue to do so in 2021 as the apps around FinTech become more mainstream and needed, especially in banking. And my guest today is at the forefront of such developments. But first, some aside thoughts. What's the future for a small trader or a limited company business? Where will they fit in the banking world of tomorrow? What should they be doing to both survive and thrive? Well, let's ask my guest those wide-ranging questions. He's the Managing Director of the UK business of the business banking app amaze.com. Welcome, Steve Taklalsingh. Welcome, Steve.
Hi, thank you, Malcolm, for having me.
It's lovely to chat to you. It's lovely to chat. Now, Steve, I've got a wide range of questions to ask you on behalf of my business owner viewers and the listeners. But first, tell us briefly what Amaze is, what it does, and who for.
Okay, thank you, Malcolm. Amaze is a financial app for business. It does the PE, payments and transaction services, banking-like services, but it also combines bookkeeping services. So you can issue invoices, manage payments, track invoices, even put your tax payments aside.
Right, got you. I just want to point out very firmly to people that you are not a bank. You're a banking app. That's correct, isn't it?
That's correct. We're a banking app. We're not a bank. We're classified as an EMI with the Financial Conduct Authority, the UK regulator, and regulated as such, as an electronic monetary authorized firm.
Excellent. Right. Now, here on BBTV, we're not averse to getting contentious, especially if we've got so much empathy with the small business. After all, we are one. Do you think the big banks have let small businesses down in recent years with their remoteness and that computer says no type of mentality? Is that why there's a need for Amaze?
Well, I think, we started saying, Amaze is definitely not a bank, but we provide the banking-like services. What we also provide is an accountancy software solution that's integral to businesses. The banks have failed to catch up with this digital technology and innovation, and have continued to be slow to innovate, and that's given us people like Amaze or us like Amaze market opportunity.
Now, I personally like FinTech, but my wife Kim, who manages our business, is constantly frustrated with the clunky technology of the big name banks we deal with. What's going on here? What's their problems?
Well, I think the banking services as a whole has been built up over the last 30 years in a very traditional manner. And they have 30 years of evolving technology and legacy systems. So it's very difficult for them to innovate. Companies like Amaze are quick to innovate, and we have to, small tech companies, take advantage of new technology so that we can innovate quite quickly, and that has given us our market opportunity. We're also able to embed into our services enhanced security. So while big banks still stick with two-factor authentication, we can embed voice biometrics and more modern security technology into the app. So the app provides a market opportunity which the big banks just can't embed into their legacy systems.
Yeah, I think that security angle is so important, with DDoS, denial of service and cybersecurity. Oh, it's a minefield, isn't it? Okay, let's move aside and talk about 2020 onwards. Probably much to the relief of many businesses who've had a 2020 annus horribilis like the Queen in 1992. The future continues to be uncertain for small businesses with a triple whammy of COVID, Brexit, and economy to contend with. Let's have a two-part question. First part, what 3 or 4 things should businesses be doing now to give them a stronger chance of survival in 2021?
Well, there are a couple of things business can do actually, and this is where businesses really have to be looking inward. They really have to check what government assistance or assistance programs on the whole are available to them or what they may have access to. It really requires some research, and there are quite a lot of programs out there to support businesses that make it fairly accessible with little hoops to jump through. You have to, on a second note, you have to ensure you're really Brexit ready. Quite a lot of small businesses, most small businesses say they are Brexit ready. I think it's worth doing some more research to ensure that you actually are Brexit ready. And the last thing I'd certainly suggest is getting on top of your finances. We did research where a lot of businesses have actually failed to invoice, and that leads to cash flow problems. And financial apps like Amaze make that quite easy and simple for them to do on the go and on the move between customers.
Yeah, I'm totally surprised, not unsurprised, by the way, of people not getting their invoices out. We're exactly the opposite. My wife's in charge of that, and she's chasing the money as soon as the letter's gone, just about. All right, okay, now for the second part. What few realistic things can businesses do now to achieve growth in 2021?
Okay, well, there are I'd say if you're looking at growth, you really have to look at your business as a whole. I'd say review your existing business plan. And when I say business plan, I don't say need to say that refer or document a 30-page document. You look at what your strategies for your businesses are when you set it up 2 to 3 years ago or updated it 2 to 3 years ago, see how it's currently being affected by a Brexit or COVID environment, and see how you can pivot the business to address new and unique opportunities that may open up, and don't run your business on the same assumptions that it was set up on.
Yeah.
On the second part of that, I'd say don't necessarily assume that we're going into a recession. It's easy to be very pessimistic in the current environment of a triple whammy of the economy, Brexit, and COVID. And the government programs there have been put in place to really ensure small businesses survive. So look at ensuring your business survives. Look at the opportunity. I would say if coming out of the COVID, I think there are going to be some damages to the economy, to businesses and everything, but there are also opportunities. So don't assume a recession. Don't suddenly make all of your staff redundant when government programs stop. It's likely certain sectors would see a bounce in terms of pent-up demand. There's travel, entertainment. People have surplus cash from not traveling or not being able to go out and spend money in restaurants. I think there'd certainly be opportunity out there.
Yeah. So you're saying think positive. Rather than negative. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Just before we move on, Steve, I just want to remind people of your URL, which is on the screen behind me, but also we've got listeners. So whilst it's amaze.com, let me spell it out for the listeners, AMAIZ, amaze.com. Pop along and have a look. Since lockdown started in March, I've video interviewed, getting on for 300 business and thought leaders around the world. The insights and the thinking has been fascinating, but one thing resonates with me. In fact, it annoys me. I firmly believe that our entrepreneurial support culture in the UK is lacking in so many ways, as opposed to, say, the USA. For example, we all know that innovation and entrepreneurship brings risk, but the reluctance to lend, especially to women entrepreneurs, seems to me to be woeful. In the UK, only 2% of venture capital goes to women, yet Los Angeles has now got it up to 15%. And don't ask me about our lack of support for equality. Does the banking and investment world need a shaking and an awakening up to the new conscious world? I'm meeting more and more investors in the USA who want to invest in conscious businesses. What's your thoughts?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, Malcolm. I think very timely as well. Traditionally, VCs tend to favor males or male-run businesses, particularly in technology and finance. This clearly needs addressing, else the VCs are missing out on valuable market opportunities and actually insulting to entrepreneurial women and diverse boards. So this is where the VC world definitely needs shaking up. However, having said that, in the UK, it's actually particularly easy to start a business, and there are many online support forums, and certainly apps like Amaze help the businesses and are open to all genders and diverse markets. In terms of a social conscious world, I think it's definitely something that's becoming more and more prevalent. Even before COVID, it was becoming socially prevalent where the large businesses really need to look at a double bottom line. All businesses need to be profitable. Large businesses have been particularly ruthless in being profitable. The COVID world has allowed us to be more community oriented, whether it's clapping for the NHS, volunteering, supporting to make scrubs, volunteering at soup kitchens and this sort of thing. It certainly has engendered a more conscious world. When it comes to large companies, when you look at the recent promotions that companies like Google and Amex, they're encouraging you to support local businesses, buy from small businesses. It's really encouraging to see businesses, large businesses, particularly fintech businesses that are always seen to be evil and being tax avoidance, which in business, there's tax evasion, which is illegal, tax avoidance, which minimizes taxes. There are loopholes which minimize taxes to such an extent that it has become unacceptable socially. And particularly people like Google, Starbucks, these sort of companies have become so more consciously aware. Even last week, Netflix has made a public announcement of how it's going to be more accountable for tax in different countries, because tax is what is used to run hospitals, to pay doctors, run the environment, run public services. So tax is a necessary evil, but it's socially responsible to ensure you pay your taxes in a moderate fashion.
I'm with you. Now, I've spent over 20 years coaching businesses to understand procurement and bid for contracts. In this altered world, though, buying behavior is changing, and many of today's socially conscious buyers are interested in not what the bidding company does, but who they are, with social value, for example, an important area. Do you see this as well? And is it likely to grow, the need for what we call the conscious supplier?
Yes, absolutely. I think businesses really need to know who they're dealing with, and it's you'd see investment funds as well as which focus on environmentally friendly investments, or Sharia funds that are religiously friendly for certain sectors. It's certainly worth investigating to see along your supply chain what's socially conscious, because socially unethical, and no one wants to invest in business or deal with business that promotes unethical behavior or immoral activities.
I'm with you totally, yes. Let's go back to Amaze. What do you see as the purpose of Amaze? The old word mission, purpose. And how will you know when you're delivering on that purpose?
Okay, I'd say really Amaze is on a mission to transform businesses. We're there to help and support to businesses to grow and provide the knowledge they require where they don't know where to look. We try to make it all efficient, and I think there's no end point. What we try to do is combine the services of payments as well as the accountancy services of accountancy software. With big banks, it's still very disparate systems, whereas with Amaze, we try to integrate those activities to make it really easy and efficient for businesses, so that you make a payment, you see the payment go out of your account, you can take a photo right on your mobile phone and tag it to that transaction. So then it makes tax filing so much easier, because everything's readily available and you have your invoice there in terms of accommodating the HMRC's making tax digital requirements. All transactions have their support documents right there in the app.
Excellent. Yeah. Just a reminder again, Steve, before I move on to the next question, of your URL on the screen behind me, amaze, AMIZ.com, amaze.com. I love the old saying, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is king. I think understanding cash flow is the first lesson every startup should learn. In fact, they should learn it at school. Forget about Latin. Here at BizVision, we have a rolling 13 weeks cash flow meeting on a weekly basis. But I'm constantly amazed with the businesses that I coach who, when I meet them, don't even have the essentials of financial understanding, just a shoebox full of bills and invoices. What's your top tips on having a strong cash flow discipline, and how does Amaze help?
Oh, I like that question, Malcolm. It goes to one of my mantras, or rather, I think it was Peter Drucker who quoted initially saying, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it or improve it. A business must know what's coming in and going out. And, sometimes you can have high turnover, but the business is running at a loss, and eventually it'll catch up with you. So with Amaze, I'd say the first thing you want to do is being able to measure your business. So with that, you can use a company like Amaze, but they must use technology or accountancy software to improve your business. You don't want, the last thing you want to do is have an all-star stick or box of receipts to give your accountant. You can do it on the go. You can capture your receipt. You can invoice directly from your app. So when you invoice from your app, that means between customers, you don't forget to invoice them, and then you've got when the invoice is paid, you automatically get an alert on the app. So as a minimum, whether it's Amaze or not, you have to use accountancy software and ideally integrated with your banking, and that's what Amaze does so well to help and support these small businesses.
Just a quiet one between you and me, Steve. Will this cut down on your accountancy bills?
Actually, yes, because it makes it quite easy to manage your finances. You'll never be totally free from an accountant. I think accountants provide a valuable services, but what accountants don't want to be are bookkeepers either. They want to provide a value add as well. Yes. So even if you continue paying for an accountant, you get more bang for your buck in terms of your accountancy fees. So what you do is actually take away the administration from yourself. You make your life easier by doing everything integrated on the app, but also makes life easier for your accountant to either just review what's already done and show you how you may improve on your tax bill or more efficiently produce your tax accounts at the end of the year.
Excellent. Yes, I totally agree with you. By the way, you do need that external advisor look at your accounts there. Steve, as I'm going to say gratefully rush into 2021. I don't like to wish my life away, but gratefully rush into 2021 and hopefully leave the gloom of 2020 behind. What 3 New Year's resolutions do you think the small business should have on his or hers list?
Interesting. I think there's certainly a lot of challenging environments out there, and businesses are being challenged. The top thing I'd say is use the time to get your finances in order. It goes back again, say if you can't measure it, you can't measure it. So get your finances in order. Know exactly where your cash flows are, how to account, know what your expenses are. The second top tip I'd say is certainly look at security. Particularly during COVID and the lockdown, we've certainly seen a spike in fraudulent activities, whether it's online or offline. In effect, banking transactions, there's a huge spike in fraudulent activities. And we've addressed it at Amaze quite a lot. We have several podcasts on it by our Francesca Dowling. So please feel free to go. It's available on the amaze.com website as well. Feel free to visit those podcasts. And the last thing I'd say is, as negative as it is, and it's easy to be drawn into the negativity of the situation with the short days we're having, the darkness, as well as all of the Brexit and COVID implications. But be optimistic. Look for challenges. Despite the challenges, look for opportunities in the business, and just have a positive outlook. Hit the ground running in 2021, and look for opportunities.
Yep, I totally agree. Let's be positive for 2021. Steve Taklalsingh of Amaze, thank you for a great interview and a very inspiring thinking towards 2021.
Thank you, Malcolm, for having me here. It's been good to share, and I hope I've been able to inspire one or two SMEs out there.